Ahoy folks, Craig signing in for Pure Xbox. Today I thought we could have a chat about Forza Horizon 6, where Playground Games could go, and the fact that it could possibly flop, it could be stale, it could be a bad game if it carries on with the incredible successes of Forza Horizon 4 and Forza Horizon 5. Now you're probably thinking, how could it go wrong if it follows suit of 4 and 5 and it's just as good? Well, if we get 3 games that are essentially the same, isn't that kind of boring? Isn't that stale? We could always just boot up 4 if we want to play Forza Horizon gameplay at its peak. We don't have to buy 6. So today I thought we could have a look at the possible landing spots in terms of location for Forza Horizon 6, as well as maybe some gameplay elements and mechanics that could be introduced to rejig and rejuvenate the series as a whole, add some elements that might keep it fresh, and also some expansion pack spitballing ideas or wish list ideas which would really, theme it and keep it interesting and really separate it from previous titles. Now, this piece was inspired by something that Ben Kerry wrote on PureXbox.com. He's one of our fantastic writers, and before we go any further, you should open up a new tab right now, go on over to PureXbox.com, sign up, and just hang out, because we have amazing things over there, and, you'd be daft to miss out on it, because you'd be daft, all right? So let's dive into it, shall we? So this year, of course, we're getting a brand new Forza Motorsport game. That's by the Turn 10 developers, which aren't the developers on Horizon. Playground Games do the Horizon series. So those guys are making the latest, I think it's the 8th installment in the Motorsport franchise. And personally, I think it looks bloody brilliant this year. I'm not a tuner-upper of cars I'm more geared towards that Playground Games open world sandbox style of racing sim. It's basically because Turn 10 seemingly went back to the drawing board with Motorsport that, it looks really appealing to me that I'm now starting to question Horizon. And if 6, follows the formula of at least the last 2 games, 4 and 5, that I'm starting to think that Forza Horizon 6 might just be at the risk of being stale and boring, and it won't get those 10 out of 10s that we saw 5 absolutely storm away with, because 5 is a brilliant game. In no way am I knocking it, but when you have something that's so good, it's almost safe to stay with it, and you're at risk of, getting stale, because you're not adding innovation, you're not changing anything, and you're not bringing something new to the franchise that will keep those gamers that love a driving game but will pick something more in their wheelhouse to play, like a FPS or a strategy game. It's more about being innovatively more appealing. So that's the focus. That's what I thought we would look at. Of course, location is incredibly important. If I go through all the Forza games so far, at least the Horizon ones, the original was Colorado, so in America. 2 was southern France and Italy. Forza 3 was Australia. 4 was Scotland, Lake District in the Cotswolds, which, me being a local to Great Britain, I loved that one. I feel like it's the best in the series. And of course, Forza 5 is set in Mexico, which is gorgeous, if not felt like a bit of a mishmash of 4, but with Mexican flavor to it. It really does feel like you're driving around in Mexico. Of course, you'll be able to tell the difference between Mexico and England. Of course you would. But what I'm saying is, it didn't seem drastic enough. It didn't seem like there was enough really separated itself from the last game. So if we're looking at Forza Horizon 6, the clear fan favorite that everybody has at the tip of their tongue, and I think is justifiably so, don't get me wrong, I am all for it as well, is Japan. The continent of Asia in general, but more focused on Japan as the setting that they would love for Forza Horizon 6. Japan would clearly be a huge distinction in difference between the likes of Scotland's flora and fauna and Mexico's vibrant forests and dusty trails and such. Japan would wholly feel different. And I think it would be so popular mainly because it plays off the, Fast and Furious franchise, Tokyo Drift. Japan has an insane amount of diversity in its built-up metropolis to its, rural settlements, shrines, and the like. Japan also hosts one of the biggest races on the planet, the Suzuka circuit. And I'm actually planning a visit to Japan next year, so it would be amazing to race around the streets of Osaka, Kyoto, Tokyo, the big city names, but also visit Fuji Hakone-Izu National Park, which, is home to Mount Fuji. There is plenty of potential for seasons, which is one of the features that, we go through summer, winter, autumn, and spring. So, Japan has plenty of diversity for that too, with, the cherry blossoms in the spring and the snow on Mount Fuji. I am completely, in favor of it being Japan. But I thought what we could do is discuss some others that I feel could make for great locations for Forza 6. So one of them is in fact Scandinavia. More specifically, I think Norway. Norway hosts some of the best roads in the world, in my opinion at least. The Atlantic Road, which is just this whippy and windy sequence of bridges across tiny, tiny islands. Then there's the iconic Trolls Way, which is like this windy back and forth road that just brings you all the way down into this mountainous valley, and it's gorgeous and much the same kind of vibe. I'm probably going to butcher this pronunciation, but it's the Lysevigen Road or Lysevigen Road. I'm not sure how you say it, sorry, but it does look like someone just scribbled their name out on a cliffside. There is plenty of drifting potential in Norway. But Norway is also kind of neighbors to Germany. I know there's a bit of water in between, but Horizon, if we're looking at innovation, could do something to bridge the gap between Norway and Germany and play off both of the country's biggest strengths. Nürburgring and Panzerplatte, they are, some of the biggest rally and road races on the planet, and they're all in Germany. But it's also got interesting locations, say the Black Forest, which you can do all your off-roading, all your dirt racing, and so on, which, we could combo Norway and Germany like they did in 4, with Scotland and England just being this fluid, open map. But there's also potential for innovation. Obviously, the water between the two countries, I think you could innovate in a way that players can get between the countries easily, but it's visually exciting. Like you take a boat or something. It brings something else to the plate, But one of the other locations that I think would be really cool, and the more I think about this, the more I believe that this location would make for the most interesting of the 3 that I have listed. Japan, I guess, 4, Norway and Germany. But also, I think Africa has insane potential for, world building and just letting the events of Horizon take over the country. You've got amazing routes like the Scenic Garden route from Cape Town to Johannesburg, or a coastal adventure through Chapman's Peak Drive. Africa's potential is wicked. I would love to see Forza 6 start in a similar way to how 5 did, where players are thrown out the back of a plane and just land on a mountainous cliff. But this time it would be Table Mountain. Imagine driving up to the edge of Table Mountain in a Jeep and just looking across all of the vast landscape that you can drive. And it's kind of one of those Breath of the Wild moments where if you can see it, you can drive there. I imagine that would make for a really cool viewpoint for the world map. Now, this next reason why I think Africa would be great does sound a little bit cheesy, but could you imagine taking a trip through the savannah with Sir David Attenborough as we join the local conservation efforts to protect African wildlife? I would love that. I've got to be honest, I hate to say it. I don't think our national treasure, Mr. Attenborough, has all that long left. So if you're going to do this, then now's the time. Old boy will be forever immortalized, as well as his incredible career, but in Forza Horizon 6. At least if that's how I had control of it, I would just plop you in a little Jeep with David Attenborough, and you could just go off and, save an elephant or two. I think that would be amazing. Moving on past location, which, as I say, I don't think the location is the most important part. But if we're going to look at the expansions, I think the risk of running stale comes from its, I guess, live service. Its expansions, its DLC, the reason to pull you back and keep you playing these incredible sandbox games. In the first game, we got the Rally expansion pack, which we have recently been treated to a version of that with Rally Adventure. Forza Horizon 2 had Storm Island, Fast and Furious, and a Porsche event. It was just a bunch of Porsche cars. With Storm Island, you got a new location, which with these sort of games, if you put a lot of time into new locations, are how you refresh it, how you keep the game interesting, because it's all about the tracks. It's about the routes. It's about where you're driving. And a new location with new tracks, new roads, that is to increase the longevity of the game. So Forza Horizon 3 had Blizzard Mountain, which, of course, following suit of Storm Island, brought in a new location, but it also added to it and had a campaign sat within it. We also saw the first iteration of Hot Wheels. There's something incredible about driving around as a toy car, but you can actually sit in it, and it's real. It's a big, beefy vehicle, and there's these tracks that just whip around the map in a completely new playstyle, fresh to Horizon, that you haven't seen, because it's just absurd. It's not grounded, and that's kind of its charm. That's what makes it exciting. But if we look at Forza Horizon 4, we get basically the same. We get Fortune Island, which is Storm Island, Blizzard Mountain. It's the same thing. It's a new location, it's a campaign, and some cars, and so great way to keep you driving, but it's starting to feel like they're following a trend of here's a new island or a new location, drive around it, sorted, give us your money. That's how we're going to have success with this franchise. And 4 was capped off with Lego Speed Champions, which is the Lego IP. There was a bunch of really cool visual elements, Lego cars. The world was kind of themed, like there were signs, destructible things, but they were Lego. And there was also, of course, there was a championship, which was a bunch of Lego cars and you're just racing around. And I feel like Hot Wheels and Lego are the way to go. I really enjoy those iterations. But if we look at 5, you'll now understand why I think we're running at the risk of it being stale, because Forza Horizon 5's 2 major expansions were Hot Wheels and Rally Adventure, which we saw Rally in Forza 1 and we saw Hot Wheels in Forza 3. So we are getting the same thing as before, which, you know, playing on nostalgia, bringing stuff back that worked is great, but at this point, we want that plus more. At least I do. I think when you have something that was a success, you can easily try and replicate it and implement it from all of the things that you learned from its first outing. And of course, there's technical elements that simply stop it from being a copy-paste, of course, but we would like to see more. Like, don't get me wrong, Rally Adventure is incredible. I love turning off the driving line and just having my co-pilot just barking orders into my ear and I'm taking all the corners as a rally driver. I really do feel like I'm having a rally race. And from what I'm hearing is that people are absolutely loving Sierra Nueva, the new Rally Adventure location. It feels tighter, it feels more bespoke. I'm less inclined to pick a direction, set a waypoint, and just drive through anything and everything until I get to my location, which, you know, I guess we all do. But what Rally Adventure brings is a fantastic location, and I will happily give it that. We did get it before in Forza Horizon, but now we're getting it in Forza Horizon 5. It's fantastic, but it is bringing something back. It's not innovating, it's not adding something new. But I will give credit to the team careers when you get through, like, I guess, the beginning stages of the Rally Adventure, where you can choose one of 3 teams, which all focus on different kind of events: dirt and off-road, night rally, and asphalt rally, which, as you progress through them, you'll unlock all 3, so you get to experience them all. Now that we've gone through all of the existing expansion packs, where Forza 5 is sat with, I guess, rehashing old ideas, we can now look forward to the future and spitball some ideas, which I've put together a few of them, which I think could really draw in a new crowd, keep things fresh, innovate the series in a way that stays true to Horizon without going too far, but rejuvenates it in a way so it's not growing stale. The first one, which I think would be brilliant, is a destruction derby. For instance, games like Wreckfest that really focus in on, I guess, racing, but also that destructive element that brings you all the way back to the Destruction Derby demo discs that you would get with magazines, where you had like cosmetic damage, engine damage, parts and tires and all that sort of stuff. Like, Destruction Derby could be really fun. The tech is there for environments, the seasons, and, you know, even the wacky Hot Wheels and Lego maps. But we haven't really dived into that damage or destruction with the Forza series, and adding this element could add a complete new feature and a new gameplay element to all existing levels of the game. Obviously, we still have, like, you can choose cosmetic or, you know, vehicle damage in races, where if you bang your car into a wall in a specific way, your tire might not work and your car might drive weird. I'm the kind of racer that will lean into other drivers when taking a sharp bend and just send them into the wall. So let me take that attitude into a destruction event. Another element of gameplay which I think could be quite cool is to introduce maybe out-of-car activities. We have a driver now which we can customize and make them look and sound like us. I tell you now, every time I boot up Forza Horizon 5 and the voiceover lady goes, "Hello, Craig," I completely forget that I chose my name, and it freaks me out every time I hear it. But pulling it back to my focus here, it would be kind of cool to physically walk around maybe a racer village hub, like games like Splatoon, where you can interact and view other drivers, customization and expression, but you could, say, walk into a workshop and physically tune up your car. Obviously, that would add a lot of, I guess, slowed down, drawn out mechanics to the game, where players might want to drive a car into a garage, just add all of the tuning and drive straight out, no fuss, no strings attached. But it would be cool to have the option to be able to get out your car, walk into a workshop, and maybe walk around your car, look at specific parts of it, and, say, change your tires. All those sort of things. I think there's an element of customization, of individualistic expression that you can really achieve when you allow other players to physically interact with one another. Like, I always enjoy racing on Forza with other life drivers because you get to see their custom decals, their vinyls for their cars. And it would be cool to extend that into your own physical driver. You could have, like, car showcases where you bring all your friends together, show up your car in a museum setting, and you can all walk around and chat. Like, that could be cool. Another element would be to possibly just completely sell out. And you know why I think it would work? Because Fortnite works. Fortnite has a solid connection to the live service infrastructure, you know, bringing exclusive brands, iconic characters from franchises and IPs that you just wouldn't expect, and bringing you back to Fortnite because you want to see Leon S. Kennedy and Claire Redfield just duke it out and pretend that it's Resident Evil 2, but reimagining. Like, you can do all that sort of stuff with that live service element, working and collaborating with brands. Take Death Stranding, for example. There was humor and time challenges injected into the game when we introduced Sam to Uber Eats. He basically became a delivery man. I think it would work well for Forza to, say, work with Uber, or, you know, the Domino's less than 30 minutes or it's free. Of course, we've got Lego, we've got Disney, the lot. I know this already exists to an extent with cars like the UNSC Warthog from Halo. It's that Warthog which is exactly why I picked up the game once or twice when I just genuinely wouldn't have done that. But you can also do, like, I guess we're going back to locations with Africa. You could do an entire safari expansion. You could have David Attenborough come into the game and people will play it because David Attenborough is in the game. Or, for instance, if you went to a location like New Zealand, you could do like a Lord of the Rings theme event where you drive to Mordor. It's just, there is plenty of brand and collaboration opportunities that I just don't feel Forza is taking advantage of, at the risk of selling out. But, you know, I feel like you can do it in a fun and exciting way. And my last thought about where Forza can innovate and, you know, add something to the game to keep it fresh is the introduction of new vehicle types, like bikes, for instance. Forza is a driving game. It's a driving game for cars specifically, but innovation could look like the introduction of bikes. And they're logical because, you know, you can essentially copy and paste the theory behind all the car events and, you know, tune them towards bikes. Track bikes for the asphalt, dirt for the rally and off-roading. Playground shouldn't be scared to get weird with it. Vespa racing, quad bikes, maybe even that like half bicycle, half motorbike that Andy Samberg rides in Hot Rod. Heck, you could do Evel Knievel events. Now, I grew up on the Isle of Man, which is home to the Manx TT races, which is like this extremely dangerous road race. It's the biggest road race in the world. We can look at games like TT Ride on the Edge, which are these immersive but very visually kind of lackluster games, which absolutely nail the mechanics of what it means to ride a bike on the Manx roads of the Isle of Man. But Playground Games has such a strong visual core, have everything in line for basically adding bikes into a game. And if they truly do nail the mechanics of riding a motorbike, it would just wipe the floor with any competition like TT games and so on. So those are just a few of my ideas that Playground Games can implement into Forza Horizon 6 to keep things fresh and, you know, not fall into the possibility of becoming stale. Again, I will say Forza Horizon 5 is brilliant. It deserves all of the positivity that it got, and I just find myself losing hours in the day when I boot it up because it's just that immersive, it's just that great. But 4 was that, 5 is the same. I don't know if I could do it for 6. 6 needs something else to really bring it into my, I guess, my console. I need a reason to go out in Forza Horizon 6. So there you have it. I did a lot of waffling. This is the very first time that I've tried one of these opinion pieces where I'm kind of off script and just chatting away. I hope you enjoyed it. Please do, if you've made it to this far, let me know, because we're brand new here at Pure Xbox. We're trying new things. Obviously, we have our sister sites like Nintendo Life and Push Square, which are doing these sort of things and having a huge success with them. But we are our own channel as well. So you are very important to the curation and the creation of what you see here on Pure Xbox. Now, of course, be sure to go check out purexbox.com. Obviously, this whole opinion piece was inspired by Ben Kerry, one of the writers. So go show some love to the guys over there on the website. But for now, you know, do the stupid thing and like the video, comment, subscribe, live your best life. And as always, thanks. Thanks for watching. I've been Craig and I'm signing off. Catch you next time.